Hypnosis works, transforming the mind.
Hi there, I'm Hendrik, a practicing non-medical hypnotherapist currently based in Pretoria, South Africa. I'm always curious to learn more about hypnosis, and so I thought, what better way to learn than to chat with other hypnotherapists to gain some insights into what they do and how they work. So join me as we explore the fascinating world of the mind and of hypnosis. My guest today is the owner of the Soul Oasis Urban Retreat, Donovan Robinson. Donovan, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you so much, Hendrik. Good to be here today.
And we're here in this absolutely magnificent venue that you've created. Tell me, Soul Oasis, what is it?
Right, so Soul Oasis started off quite strangely. When I need to talk about what it entails, it always starts off as if people say to us, but did you move to that property knowing that it would be this? And the answer is absolutely not. We had no concept or clue whatsoever. We were just driven to move to this property. It was 1 hectare of open veld with a funny little house in the country. And we immediately saw the potential, and I actually have even got the belief that the property even drew us to it, if you believe in such things. Because the day that we came to look at it, we literally did not know where it was, and we drove almost right up to it. So we fell in love with it totally, and within a month we had actually negotiated a rental agreement plus a to-buy option, and we moved in from our other place within a month and a half of first ever seeing this place. When we got here, we realized that we would need to make the property work for us if it was going to work. We've got 2 other installation businesses, the one being landscaping business, and the other one is the Belgatex Grass Artificial Lawn franchise for the Centurion area. So to do with that, we set up a show garden for the artificial lawn, and we were driven to almost wanting to go for a wedding type venue. But then realized that wedding venues are actually pretty much done, and perhaps the world needs something different. So 4 years ago on Women's Day, I literally sat down and drew out what was going to become the sketch plan for Soul Oasis. The name also just came to me. Literally, I woke up one morning with the voice in my head saying, get up now and go onto the CIPC website and go and register a company called Soul Oasis, which, not even knowing what it was going to become, I went and did. So that was registered in 2016. And slowly the design started coming out. But what's really interesting about it is we've gone for an urban retreat for body, mind, and soul. Many other urban retreats or wellness retreats or that, but they don't really concentrate on the balance of the 3. And what we found most interesting is about 2 weeks after lockdown, we realized that body, mind, soul actually is not enough. Because if you don't have your connection to whatever you would like to call it, your higher power, your source, universal energy, God, chi, whatever you'd like to call it, if you don't have that, having your body, mind, and soul in connection is not enough, because you need to actually be in that flow. So yeah, first of all came a labyrinth, which we designed a beautiful crescent moon-shaped labyrinth, very unique. And Leon is my partner of the last 23 years. We literally placed every single rock in the labyrinth ourselves. So the pathway system brings about a very lovely journey to the center. I'm not sure if you know much the difference between labyrinths and mazes.
Well, I do, but I'm sure many people don't. So let me say, I have no idea.
Perfect. So if you're totally clueless, I'd like to say, in a nutshell, you go into a maze to lose yourself. You go into a labyrinth to find yourself. So the pathway in the labyrinth is not meant to confuse you. It's not meant to cause any sort of concern that you might be lost. There are no dead ends and there is no trickery. So it is literally one pathway that you walk. So you walk in knowing that you don't need to question the path, which frees up your mind to actually start circulating thoughts through it, which will eventually become the answers to your issues. So I always describe as the journey in being when you actually discuss your problems with your higher power. You take the walk and you then spend a silent time in the center with your higher power. I always say that's when you actually shut up and you actually listen, which is probably one of the definitions of meditation, because I always think prayer hand in hand with meditation. So whatever answers you then feel you have got from the inside, you then walk the same path out, putting those answers literally into the steps of your life. So that by the time you get back to the exit, you literally have done a journey towards your higher power and back out.
So for me, when I think of a maze, I think of The Shining. It's kind of a horrific kind of thing.
Exactly.
As you say, you get lost. But the labyrinth here is, I mean, you look at it and it looks very unassuming from the outside, but once you go into it, it becomes a very powerful experience.
So what aids that, and I actually had to go and do a course on metaphysics to find out what I have done here, because I literally went about this without really knowing what it's going to do or how it's even going to affect anything. So one of the reasons why the labyrinth is almost so healing is I'm told by people that can see energy clearly that the labyrinth is actually vibrating on a slightly higher plane than the area directly around it. And how I achieved that was by putting rose quartz crystals in the foundations throughout the labyrinth. We also have a very beautiful moon gate made out of natural rocks at the entrance. The reason why we chose a moon gate is because in mystical times that was a portal to another dimension, which is literally what it has become. It's the barrier between the outer world and your inner world, which is great. So you will definitely feel it. If I go through the moon gate now, I actually get goosebumps when you feel the energy is at a higher plane. And we have had experiences in there with people that have been the most untrusting of such stuff, that have come out being the most affected by it. Like guys that would be the joker and like, oh, this is shit, this isn't going to work. And they come out dumbfounded.
Transformed.
Absolutely. So every labyrinth journey is very different. It depends on where you are in your inner journey. But I would say that the amount of people that have walked it probably numbers in excess of 2,000 currently.
Wow.
And that was since we laid the first stones in December 2018.
So you're talking about energy, and certainly, you know, everything is energy and everything vibrates at a certain level. Do you think there's a vibration around this whole property, or is it just in the maze?
I actually do think it's the whole property, because I'm playing around. It's almost like a little experimental form of metaphysics. So metaphysics are all the things that you can possibly believe in, but there's no central science around it just yet, although there are great reports coming out scientifically that is proving everything that has been said. So like the use of color therapy, the use of different materials in the landscape. Crystals are a great thing for rising it. You get your incense, and then essentially you just get the feeling of the place. So if you consider 2,000 people walking that same pathway, their footprints have got to put something onto the earth. So if they enter with love and with a hope to find answers in a loving manner, they definitely are imprinting their own soul's love onto the path. So if you keep on doing that, I mean, it's the same as the Himalayas and the Wall of China and all of that, where you have so many feet over that they eventually start creating a sense of place. So it literally does become a healing space just because of all the extra that is put down on it.
So Soul Oasis is more than just a labyrinth, though. I mean, you've created the most amazing little outside rooms here.
Correct.
What is the venue to be used for, apart from walking the maze?
Right. So basically the whole concept was that it's an urban retreat. Once we have our 20 overnight rooms up, we will then be able to have overnight stays. And then you start opening up the property in ways that have hardly been done before, because then you have people experiencing it throughout the day, the evening, and into the night. And they are then staying on the property. So the idea is that you could use it almost as a holiday destination to come and get your mind in place so that you can continue with life. So especially after COVID, we're beginning to realize more and more how essential it is to have very good mental wellness. And what's been interesting is we've been pointed out that men especially are in need of this, because COVID didn't just attack physically certain people. The entire virus, or the entire pandemic, has touched every single one of us worldwide. And many men were placed in the situation where, very high powered in their jobs, very good at earning money, suddenly they had a period of 1 to 2 months where they actually could not earn anything, and everything started collapsing. Now, if you put that into a relatively strong world mind of a typical type A personality guy, he takes that as a personal threat, and his mind starts playing tricks on him. Now with segregation being even more, people are sitting in their own houses doing work for businesses that have got no clue what their mindset is. So they literally could be punching in those keys and stuff in great anger. And what is that actually doing for your business and your client? Because that all does actually flow through. The fact that you say everything is energy, it's now actually only becoming realistic to me that is almost the basis of everything. So our energy levels are vibrating at certain levels, and the map of consciousness also brings this about. That was developed by Richard Hawkins, I think, Dr. Hawkins. And he basically put a value to each human emotion as it goes up. So as we vibrate in our frequency, we could either be at a destructive force layer, because where you are vibrating, you see that as normal life. You could go up and down very easily, but if you have got a standard space that you vibrate at, be it shame, guilt, anger, pride, any of those low emotions, you automatically go back to that place. So you might, for instance, find joy, which has a reading of 600. You might find joy for a few minutes, but then you will vibrate back down to that level. The trick is to always make sure that we are increasing our own vibes. And you do that by listening to good music, by meditating, by possibly learning incense, by just having beautiful times with beautiful people and spending time in nature or at running brooks or anything like that. Your vibe goes up. So, for instance, I can calculate that possibly I vibrate normally on a good day between 400, which is like a pretty happy level, up to 500, which is love. If something comes along and makes me embarrassed or makes me angry, I do go down to those levels. But because my normal vibration is higher up now, you automatically go back up there. And that really is just the key.
You were talking about research earlier. I was doing some research for some articles I'm writing for the Find a Hypnotist website. And there's some very clear research coming out that the mind-body connection is actually real. I mean, we've known this for a long time, but medical professionals and, those sort of people are starting to understand that if your mind is unhealthy or not working in a proper level, it's going to have a profound effect on your body. And I think that's what you're trying to do here is to create a space where you could, as you say, raise your vibration, get a peaceful mindset, come into the love vibration, and that would then have an effect on your physical body as well.
And I think that whole saying of as within, so without, as above, so below, is very important, because we literally are creating the world as we look at it. So everybody on earth actually has a slightly different world experience because of the filters that they are looking through. For instance, somebody could arrive at Soul Oasis and they could be the mooring or angry because they've possibly had a bumper bashing on the way, or somebody pulled a zap sign at them. So they get you vibrating at a low level. But they then have some silence, they have some time to get back to themselves, they walk the labyrinth, or they possibly just spend time in the area. And by the time they leave, they will feel uplifted. It's almost like a guarantee. To me, it's been important to get people to realize that they are responsible for the energy that they bring to a situation, because you literally have that effect on everyone. The whole energy body, obviously we're not all just our own physical bodies. Our energy body ends possibly about a meter, half a meter to a meter in front of us. And that is also where your chakras are starting from. So those chakra points that are on your body, you don't just get the energy from the food and the drink that you are eating and drinking. You actually are absorbing energy from your surroundings, and those are going in through your chakras, which most people don't even think of. So you literally are absorbing the space's energy as you go in, and you are filtering it through your universe, through your inner universe. Because it's my belief that your inner universe is as important as the outer one. And I think that as we become more and more clever scientifically, we're able to see that our inner universe goes down into infinity in the same way that the outer universe goes up to infinity. And we're all connected in such an interesting way that I would even go far as to say that we don't find God within us. We are actually always within God. We are actually little parts of God that is come down to experience life as we have, for whatever lessons we felt our soul needs to learn, or whatever experience we feel that we wanted to have. One of our neighbors over the road has got a very interesting saying. When we ask her to do something that's a bit strange, or like walk my labyrinth, it's a bit strange, she would always just say, yes, I'll do it, because I don't want my soul to go back stupid. And that just signs it all up for me so much as well, because why say no to experiences that could enhance your soul? Because that's actually all you take back with you one day. You leave your convertible here, you leave your everything else here, but what you have done for your soul in this lifetime is what you take back with you to whatever eternity you believe in.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking metaphysical and all that, but on a practical level, if somebody were to come here, what sort of activities would they be doing? What sort of events would they be able to attend or host here?
Yes, so that's ever changing, and we actually often laugh at about the range of events that we can have. Because, for instance, we could have literally a sit down and get drunk party. And if that's all the people want to come here for, that is going to be what their experience of Soul Oasis is. They will go away and tell people, it's absolutely beautiful, you can go there, it's an awesome place to party. But then we also have the deeper sides of it. So there are actually, in time to come, are going to be architectural elements on the property that add to the courses that we are going to be offering. So we've got a course that's going to become our signature course, which my sister presents as a corporate course to show people what is going on in their lives. And she's used the rainbow as the colors. I found it extremely interesting when she sent that course through to me to kind of evaluate. I've been writing the exact same course, but based on your inner world. Suddenly we realized, wow, the two go so hand in hand, that she's dealing with stuff that, let's say corporates as corporates, but I would say any uninformed person on metaphysics, they would relate to it. So they would be able to see, yes, you know what, red affects my social life, and if these parts of me are out of balance, obviously my social life will suffer, and my little red part of my rainbow might not be as big as what it should be. I've done the same thing with the chakras. So each of your chakras actually correspond in the same way to avenues of your life or to parts of your body. So if you heal your chakras from within, and the course will help you to do that sort of thing, because there'll be release ceremonies and all sorts of things in order to raise your vibe, so that you get taught how to raise your vibe all the time. There's going to be that which goes from the inner world into the corporate world. So that is one of the courses which we call Shine in Soul Retreats, because it's literally to help you get your shine back onto your mirror. I often say to people, would you spend time with the person in your head if they keep saying that to you all the time? And no, you wouldn't. You'd run a mile, because we are ugliest to ourselves, where we are supposed to actually be our own best friends. So it's literally to help you clean your mirror, get your shine back, become your own best friend, and then it shows you how to keep that mirror clean. So that is going to be one of the courses. We also have facilities that allow other professionals to come and run their own courses here. In time to come, we are going to have a conference center with an entire reception hall, on-site kitchen and dining facilities, as well as a mental health unit where we could even have psychiatrists, for instance, come into practice as a daycare center for mental health. The labyrinth is a big part of it, because that's our soul part of it. We then have the mind side of it, and then we have the body side of it. So from the body side, we're also going to have a wellness center with beauty treatments going from skin deep all the way deeper, so that you can actually begin to see how not necessarily what the makeup does to your face, but what the makeup and what your presence does for your confidence inside. Because when you are feeling good inside, you radiate that outwards. And you'll often find you might not even need to use makeup after that. So currently we have space where we can seat 60 people for outdoor dining experiences. We then have renovated our stables, which can seat up to 60 people as well, either as a conference or as a celebration. We especially did not build a wedding chapel. We wanted a total break from any link to any religion, so that people can come here with a free mind. So we literally are just calling them the old stables, and it's a beautiful environment to meet, to meditate, to even possibly go on healing journeys with groups. We've got that. It's got a presence as well, because it's clad in wood, and the wood brings a beautiful energy to it. And we then also have got a rocket lounge, which is what everybody asks us about. I spoke about those 2 weeks into lockdown where we realized, you know what, connection's important. A week after that, a neighbor says to us, listen, I've got this sculptural element. I'm going to actually burn it if you don't fetch it, because I want to get rid of it. It's taking up my space. We go there and you'll see the rocket has been erected in a conversation pit, which in time to come is going to be in the middle of a dam. You have this structure which is 6 meters high above you. And everyone says to me, but what is it meant to do? And I'm like, what has it made you do? Because everyone walks up towards it and they look up. And that literally is what you are just meant to do in order to realize you have got that connection and how important that is.
You've been talking when we were discussing this previously about vortexes, and you want to have a vortex. But I mean, that structure you're talking about is a kind of air vortex, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
got this weird shape to it that you, like you say, you have to look up, and and isn't that amazing for us to sometimes look up?
Absolutely. And what I've even noticed is some people are even scared of the open space that's here because they're just not used to it. People are so inwardly bound that they possibly have a townhouse in a complex and their garden space, if anything, is maybe 5 meters by 3 meters. And they are just surrounded. They almost aren't used to looking up and seeing the sky anymore because there's such a small piece of sky above it. So it does make people look up. And whether it's night or day, there's something amazing to see up there each time.
You were talking about COVID earlier as well. What I find so amazing about this venue is it's mainly outside and therefore really kind of more COVID safe. I don't think anything will be completely COVID safe anymore, but because you can be outside, you can do a little bit of social distancing and you can still have a great time, as opposed to being stuck inside a venue and, it's the limits as to how many people you could have. Even the stables has got a big open window, and if you open the doors, there's lots of air breezing through it. So I think in that way also it's a kind of motivation for people to use the venue for things like baby showers or, weddings or whatever, workshops or things that they want to present.
There were a few scenes of housekeepers that shows on Showmax, filmed over here. My mother's very impressed that my grandmother's chairs were on TV. And as you say, I've said it before, but I got looked at with a huge frown, is that I almost think COVID has come along to show how important a place such as Soul Oasis is. Everybody's used to party venues and other kinds of places where they can link with people, but this just seems to do it at a deeper level. And we've tested it with people that have come here, and practically everybody comes here and says that they've left feeling more uplifted than what they have arrived. So I think spaces like this are going to become very important. And with regards to the vortex, we are going to be putting up a vortex temple, which I think is going to quite blow people's minds. It's a design that I was in the labyrinth and meditating quite strongly, and within seconds this design came through to me, and I went inside and I drew the plan of what is going to become the vortex temple without even knowing what it's supposed to do. Afterwards, on my metaphysical course that I did online recently, I clicked what it is actually all about. And it literally is just taking what your chakras look like, and it's made a giant copy of it, because technically your chakras are all vortexes too. Yeah. So of course, yeah. When you stand in that temple, you can actually see, okay, this is what is going into me in my third eye, or in my throat chakra, or in my base chakra, in any of them. You can understand it. So it's going to be a very, very intimate space, and very holy, if I could call it that. It will only seat 6 people. It's literally 4 meters by 4 meters. But what amazes me about the design of the temple is that it's got each element in it. It's got earth, wind, fire, water, and then also metal and wood. But then you and your soul is the final element that completes it when you step into it, because that's ether. So when you step into the temple, you will complete the temple design just by being there. And I'm not sure what effect this is going to have yet. I'm just literally, it feels as if we're being guided with this. It's going to be very, very interesting what does come about, but I think it can be a really, really healing spot. And we can have things such as release ceremonies where people are getting rid of their things, such as their fears, their anger, their guilt, all of those sort of things. We're letting them face it, heal from it, let it go, and then you take the lesson and you no longer stick to it as if it's a life sentence.
Fantastic. If you hear any heavy breathing, it's one of the dogs that's come in here and is being petted now. It's being beautiful. So your background, I mean, you talk about design and that, but obviously you have a background in those sort of things.
Yeah, really interesting. So I studied a Bachelor of Landscape Architecture degree, which I graduated from in 95. which was just before the computer era hit. So for a while I felt as if I'm at a bit of a disadvantage because I still do things with pencil and pen, and I love it. And I stick to it, actually. And I feel that I can't design if I'm clicking a mouse. So I go through it. Like I said, I designed Soul Oasis within like half an hour to an hour, which became the base sketch plan, and it's changed since then. But the whole idea is still there. So I had my degree, and we've had quite a successful career of 25 years in the landscaping industry, which is quite some doing, if I say so myself, because landscaping industry is notoriously easy to get into. If you get retrenched, you can take your bucky and a few spades and you're a landscaper. That's not quite the same as having a degree in landscape architecture or design. But what I've then started going for is, and I trademarked a word a few years ago called spiritscapes, which is literally landscaping with a spiritual connotation. So it's taking your metaphysical elements and using them in the landscape so that you can influence and adapt people's feelings when they are in that space. Mm-hmm. So you're not just going for a typical landscape design that looks pretty. You literally are going for a landscape that becomes a healing space. You can use these sort of things in memorial gardens. You can use it in hospital gardens. In fact, we built our first labyrinth at a healthcare facility in South Africa at Riverfield Lodge in the Life Hospital and Rehab in Nooitgedacht. And apparently it's getting extreme, major use. When we started talking about labyrinths, people would say, like, what is that? They wouldn't know what it was. Mm. Now suddenly there's interest. There's people understanding that mental health is extremely important, and the labyrinth is one of the tools that allow you to meditate and to find that inner soul oasis that you've got with you all the time.
For me, and I mean, from a hypnosis point of view, it is kind of an hypnotic experience, and that's why I'm so happy that you're allowing me to be the trailblazer for you here. Because I mean, for me it's about how do you change your outlook on life. And I mean, hypnosis is such a great modality to help you to do that. But it is kind of a hypnotic experience when you come in here, you walk the labyrinth, when you spend time in the space, you cannot help to be changed by it.
Considering exactly that, have you thought of the importance that we actually have towards South Africa as a whole? So basically, I created a word came to me called Solar Days. It's not just a simple holiday, it's a holiday for the soul. And all the wellness trends that have been sort of earmarked for 2019 say that people are looking for holiday experiences that go just beyond the physical. So instead of going to Sun City and going to gamble and drink cocktails at the pool, you book in at Soul Oasis, and you have a space where you can connect with your mind, connect with your soul, and connect with your body. So instead of just going for a wellness treatment on your body, you actually come along, you have your wellness treatment, you walk the labyrinth, you gain whatever insight you can mindfully from lectures that we've got from professionals that will be on board to actually come and give courses in their side. So Soul Oasis could become an extremely important space, not just for people coming here to use it, but for wellness professionals as well. Because never before has a platform like this been designed for wellness professionals to come in and actually expand the experience for their own clients. So if, for instance, you spoke about hypnosis, you could come and you could hypnotize a client to deal with whatever they need to deal with at that stage. But then it goes just beyond you doing that. You then say to them, listen, go and spend an hour in the labyrinth. And I mean, Leon and I were in the labyrinth for over an hour and a half last night, in the wind and everything, because we felt that we had to get an answer to something. It's actually amazing when you leave and you can say that that's the right answer, because you haven't got the answer from someone else. You've got it from yourself.
I mean, so, and isn't that amazing that all those answers are inside you? Just, as you say, have to become quiet a little bit to hear them.
Absolutely. So we have a silent retreat that we've designed as well, called You Are Your Guru, which is quite cute. It's just you are G-U-R-U. You are your guru. Wow. And it's going to be a total silent retreat. So you book it online before you even get here. You tell us what kind of issues. You just mention the issues that you might be dealing with, so that we can see if we do have anyone on hand that could possibly help give you advice or whatever. But the idea is that you arrive here, you do not have to say a word to anybody. You could have a little silent sign, and you get then given your day pack, which would include a lunch and stuff like that. And you get the map of Soul Oasis, and you literally spend your own time at Soul Oasis looking for the answers you want. So you can take up journaling, you can spend time in the labyrinth and meditate. And I guarantee you that by the time you leave in that afternoon, you would have that answer that you're looking for. And it's amazing being able to say that because I've proved it.
So, okay, let's get a little bit away from the metaphysical and into the practical. I mean, weddings, christenings, gender reveal parties, birthdays, these are all sort of things that you can cater for. Picnics. So it is more than just soul things. It's mind, soul, body.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I have concentrated mainly on the soul side because that's probably what most people have the least knowledge of. Yeah. It was quite strange when I was showing logos to some people, and I showed the first logo and I said to them, but do you realize that it says soul in the logo? And they had to re-look at it, and they're like, no, you have to really look deep to find the soul. I'm like, spot on, which is so true. Yeah. So that's possibly why I've been speaking so much about it. But we go for weddings. You can have beautiful tying the knot ceremonies in the labyrinth. There's even an amount of people that have got a belief to get married within a moon gate, which we have as well. We can have weddings. We can literally have naming ceremonies. We can even have divorce ceremonies. Now, when a friend said that to me, I looked at him strange and I'm like, just cut the crap. And he said to me, think about it, Donovan. And I literally thought about it for about 5 seconds, and I realized how right he is. You might not come here with the person you're getting divorced from, but if you come here needing healing from a divorce and you've got to perform a release ceremony and just get back in touch with yourself during a very, very hurtful period of your life, if you can find yourself then again to get back on your feet and continue, we have done what we have had to do in the labyrinth. But we've got a beautiful space, like an outdoor lounge area with a glorious fireplace that's got its own mantelpiece. So the idea is that you can even bring wedding photos or photos of granny and your grandkids and everything and put it on the fireplace so that all of your wedding photos have got, as if it's your lounge and it's got your family photos on it. And that's got a kitchen which can either be used for self-catering purposes or fully catered, fully served. We can literally work with you on whatever budget you have in order to make your experience come to life.
And service, obviously, such a important component. I was reading one of the comments when we were on the Facebook around the picnics, and some lady commented, oh wow, such a beautiful venue, we had such a lovely day, and the service was excellent.
Because of lockdown, we actually have not brought in other staff as yet. So there's usually 3 of us that have been running all the events, unless we have friends that say, oh, we'll come along and help you waiter. So we try to keep the service up. What we've also had to realize is that you can also overservice. Mm-hmm. So if there's a couple having a beautiful picnic on the rose bed, which is literally a 4-poster bed that you lie on in the rose garden, they don't want to be bothered so much. They want their picnic basket, and then you must actually give them space.
You need our space now.
Yes, and I think that is actually what that lady was referring to, because she came with her boyfriend and she had a beautiful picnic on the rose bed. And we were there when we had to be, but apart from that, it was just them. And possibly that's sometimes the best service you can give.
One of the other ideas that we've had and that we are working very hard to bring to fruition is a market day, specifically for vegans, because I think that fits in so well with your whole philosophy here as well, is do no harm unto others in a way. But I mean, it is a great space for a kind of a market activity.
Yeah, what really makes it nice is we've got a entrance walkway that is going to be covered in time to come, and it literally would turn it into a hall of about 100 meters by 6 meters. So under there we could have quite a few of the stalls. The exciting thing about the market is the space that we've got, which you referred to earlier, which can be used as a therapy space. It's almost totally enclosed as a separate private garden room. So instead of walls, I've used plants to create the garden rooms. So visitors are usually quite astounded at what you're able to achieve, literally without having to bring in walls and things like that, because we've got walls everywhere. And that creates beautiful garden rooms. So the one room is fantastic for treatments. You can then walk along and check all the stalls. You can then pop into the labyrinth and have a labyrinth walk, go around to the food stalls, and then choose to go and sit around the vortex or the rocket space that's in the middle of the property and have a picnic there with your people accompanying you. And you can then take a walk through our herb and veggie garden. That's also a labyrinth that is wheelchair friendly. And have a beautiful day. You can literally turn a market day into an experience that raises you up more than just buying something at a store would.
So if people were to want to use the venue, how would they contact Soul Oasis?
They can contact us either via our Facebook page, which is Soul Oasis Urban Retreat, or alternately they can get us on WhatsApp. My number is 076 817 7973. And the other contact number is just a 4 at the end instead of a 3. So either of those two numbers will work. We're pretty good at answering them. And instead of coming up with a set cost or a set fee, we realize that budgets are crucial. We actually invite the clients to come to us and say, listen, I've only got 80 Rand per person, or I can spend 300 Rand per person. And based on that, we can actually make your retreat or your lunch or whatever you would like to come here for, we can make it work for you and do the best that we absolutely can.
There's also a website.
There is a website, www.souloasis.co.za.
And we've also got quite a few events loaded up on that Facebook page.
We do indeed. Many of them are offered by you.
Oh, you died, did not know that.
Yes, and thank you for coming in and taking the bull by the horns, by the way, because we literally have needed somebody to come along and say, this is what this can be used for. And
well, for me, as I said earlier, it's such an amazing space. And like the first time I came here, it was like, wow. And I came for the labyrinth walk, really. And I've taken a little bit of a break from it. And I'm back with a vengeance, like you say, because I feel it's so well situated. It's very close to Joburg and Pretoria and Centurion and Krugersdorp. It's like, if you know where Diepsloot is, where... Not quite in Diepsloot, but it's close to that. It's very easy off the highway to get here. So, in that way, I think it's really well situated.
Yep.
And as I say, the energy here is fantastic. And then the facilities and the opportunities here are so great.
We're also going to be trying to have some of our own events as we go along. One of them that's on the cards is possibly an astrology dinner. So that once a month we will have an astrology dinner linked to the astrology sign of that month. So where that idea came from is the Age of Aquarius, which we had the most amazing event for in December on the 21st of the 12th, which was seen as the dawn, or as we enter the Age of Aquarius. So that's an age that's still going to be around for about 2,000 years, I think. These kind of spaces are typically what the Aquarian age is about. It's about seeing structures that are no longer working for and being able to get in touch with your own self and your own energy towards your higher power.
Well, and I think people have a definite need for a change in outlook in life because of COVID and because of everything that's happening. So if you want to enrich your soul and get in touch with your inner self and find your answers, well, Soul Oasis is here for you.
Thank you so much.
Soul Oasis certainly is a very unique venue, and you should most certainly make a turn here and come and see it for yourself, and also book it for your next function. Of course, my hypnosis works practice is now situated at Soul Oasis, and you can always come and see me here for a session to stop smoking or to solve your other issues and problems. Remember to go and look at my website hendrikbeard.com for more information. Until we speak again, have a hypnotic day.
Hypnosis works, transforming the mind.